Assalamu alaikum, my name's James Caan and welcome to your event. Tonight we're hosting from London Marriott Hotel, Regents Park, in aid of Noor Ul Islam Trust. We have an array of speakers for you tonight, the most prominent one being the entrepreneur James Caan himself, who's giving his talk on Path to Success. Let's go in and find out some more.
With people being shown to their seats and the venue steadily filling up, the audience waited in anticipation for the event to start.
My dear brothers, sisters, and respected guests, it's a great honor and a pleasure, first and foremost for myself, to have the responsibility of hosting this wonderful evening. This is the second time I have had the pleasure to be part of something for this amazing center, charity, organization called Noor Ul Islam. I am your host, of course. My name is Omar Ali, and I wanted to share with you something which I always think about. 50,000 years before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the heavens and the earth, Allah decided and decreed for each and every single one of us, by soul, by body, by mind, by our heart, every single one of us to be here, sitting in the seats that you're sitting in tonight. Tonight is about changing this Islamic center, this mosque, which is regarded so highly in the Muslim community and the non-Muslim community, in interfaith circles and intra-faith circles. It's about transforming this hub into something which would be one of the leading centers of in the whole country. And I just want to very quickly read off what tonight is about, this £8 million project, which we hope that you will support. It will have a primary school, a preschool, mother and toddlers facilities. It will have a youth and women's group, a madrasa and hifz classes, alima programs, circumcision services, marriage services, health education, funeral services, sports activities including swimming classes, a Muslim scouts group, a bookshop, a cafe, and so many more things. The list is, I think I've just got about half of what's on the list, and it's just absolutely phenomenal to be part in some small tiny way of bringing people together to support this. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome to the stage our dear beloved brother, the chairman of Noor Ul Islam, Sheikh Yusuf Hansen.
We need to show that we are not what people think we are. We are what Islam teaches us and what Allah wants us to do, inshallah.
Basically, all I want to do is just to give you a flavor of where this project is at. It's got a number of different facilities. You've got a primary multifunction hall, which will be both male and female. All the main primary spaces are subdivided, and they've all got their own separate entrance, so that males can use it, females can use it. You can have two functions in the same space. We then go to the library. The library is the hub of this elliptical drum, and is really the heart of the nerve center of the building. This elliptical drum actually goes all the way up through the building. But we have a library, we have a secondary multifunction space, which is within here, which is within this zone. And then going up from the basement, a lot of glass in the building, a lot of light. We want to try and get as much light into the building. It's a very modern, contemporary building. We want people to be able to see from the outside of the building the activities within the building. So we've also got a preschool area. Again, the preschool can be subdivided with a bifold partition both ways. And then the upper levels, you have the main prayer hall. We've used a lot of geometry. We've used a special type of structural slab that actually, where the geometry is expressed in the slab. You can see that in these coffered elements here. And then we're going up through the building, and this is actually the sisters level, the second floor level, which is dedicated to sisters. You've got a mother and toddlers area. You've got the prayer area. Again, shoes, and the way we've integrated shoes within the fabric of the building, where you put your shoes. So I hope that gives you a flavor for what is being proposed here. A state-of-the-art drop-in center. It's a drop-in center, it's a mosque, it's so much more than that. It's about meeting the needs of the community. You know, it really is a spiritual hub, a social hub for the whole of the community here.
Most people are looking for a path to success that is both easy and certain, but most paths are neither.
Ikhlas, devotion, sincerity is the key word to achieve success. Be a person of ikhlas, then Allah will facilitate for you success, bi'idhnillah.
I'd like now to introduce our next guest speaker, the founder and CEO of Islam Channel. And he is also someone who is behind GPU, the Global Peace and Unity events, which have been happening since 2005. Is someone who I think we're all very much looking forward to hearing from, Muhammad Ali Harath.
Have you ever, brothers and sisters, seen a project, a charitable project, not being completed? Have you ever seen that? Never. Today, we have not been, and we are not, being invited to a fundraising dinner. Today, tonight, we are presented with a rare opportunity to do trade tonight, and that trade is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
I'd like to welcome to the stage James Caan.
I myself am a very proud Muslim, did my Hajj many years ago, and even I remember when I was on Dragon's Den, when somebody came in with an investment where they wanted me to invest in a business that produces wine, and on national television I said, thank you, that's a great idea, but sadly due to religious reasons I can't invest. So the point I'm making is actually, you know, I'm extremely proud to be who I am, and I'm very proud of my faith and my belief. And despite whatever success you could achieve in life, I don't think that you should ever put your religion in front of that. I think you should embrace it and believe in it. I think a lot of people find so many reasons why they believe they can't be successful. And sometimes they believe it's because of their cultural background or their family background, or maybe because of their educational situation or their financial situation. I mean, for me, as an example, when I arrived here with my family in 1960, my father arrived here. He arrived from Pakistan. Sadly, he was uneducated. He had never been to school before, and he couldn't speak a word of English. So, you know, I grew up in an environment where I didn't really get a huge amount of encouragement from an educational point of view, because he himself had never been to school. So a bit like him, I left school at 16 with no qualifications, because I saw my father running a business. He had a factory where he made leather garments, and in my head I thought that must be my journey, that I would want to be an entrepreneur. I'd also like to run a business. And unfortunately my father had this vision that I too would work in the factory with him and take over the family business, but unfortunately the idea of working 7 days a week in a factory didn't really appeal to me. So I said to my dad, listen, I think this is a great thing for you, this is your vision, this is your dream, but it's not really for me. And as you know, in the Asian community, as a son, there's this natural expectancy that you will just naturally follow what your dad will do. So unfortunately, my father and I, we fell out because I said I didn't want to join the family business. He said, you absolutely will join the family business. So I left home at the age of 16 with £30 in my pocket. My father thought I was a spoilt child, that I threw my toys out of the pram, and he thought that I would effectively come back after a couple of weeks. And by the time I got to the station, I'd made up my decision that I won't go back until I've made it. And most of my success, I'm absolutely certain, is very much around trying to prove to my father that he made the wrong decision by letting me go. So my journey really started at the age of 16, where I left home and decided that I wanted to start my own business. I accidentally fell into recruitment. I saw an advertisement in a newspaper where they were advertising for a trainee interviewer. Did the job for about a year and realized actually I quite like this, I quite like the concept of recruitment, and within 18 months left, and I set up a company called Alexander Mann, which was my own recruitment business, and I came up with a very novel idea of how recruitment should be done, and mashallah, that business literally went from strength to strength, and by the time I got to selling that business, we had 147 offices in 30 countries, and mashallah, that business today is probably regarded as the world's most successful business. I sold it in 2002, and today that business has revenues in excess of $1 billion. 2 years after I left home and I'd set up my own business, I got in touch with my father and did actually make up with my dad. And the kind of probably the most important period for me was about 10 years later. We were having an event where we were celebrating the opening of our 100th office in Singapore, and we were having an event at the Dorchester, and I invited my dad, and as I was making the presentation in the audience I could see my dad crying, and after I finished the presentation I stepped down and he embraced me, and I think he was quite excited and quite proud that even he hadn't realized how big this business had become. And since that particular moment in time, he became my mentor, without a question of doubt that the success that I'd achieved, you know, despite the differences that we had, absolutely was based on his teachings, the work ethic, and my respect that I had for him.
After inspiring talks from guest speakers, we reached the highlight of the evening with a special Q&A from entrepreneur James Caan, which was then followed by a beautiful recitation of the Quran and a dua from Sheikh Dr. Muhammad ibn Abdul Aziz.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولقد خلقنا الإنسان ونعلم ما توسوس به نفسه ونحن أقرب إليه من حبل الوريد إذ يتلقى المتلقيان عن اليمين وعن الشمال قعيد ما يلفظ من قول إلا لديه رقيب عتيد اللهم يا واحد يا أحد يا فرد يا صمد يا من لا ند له ولا إله معه يا من عز فارتفع وخر كل شيء لعظمته وخضع يا حليما على من عصاه يا حليما على من عصاه يا قريبا ممن أمله ورجاه القلوب لك مفضية والسر عندك علانية الحلال ما أحللت والحرام ما حرمت سبحانك وبحمدك سبحان الله العظيم.
And with a very happy crowd and dinner served, I went and spoke to special guests of the evening, along with members of the audience, to see what they thought of the night's events.
I think right now, we as Muslims, I think are experiencing real challenges around the world. And I think the more that we do as a community, not as individuals, but as a community, that demonstrate that we are integrating, that we are being inclusive, and that we are doing things for the wider community, the better for us. This is an opportunity for the Muslims to stand out and demonstrate that we make a positive contribution in this country. And I think what this community centre does demonstrates and illustrates that we are part of this community and we can make a difference.
I'm joined by Muhammad Ali, CEO of Islam Channel. I'd like to find out what he thinks of tonight's events too. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Have you enjoyed this evening's events?
Alhamdulillah, the food was good and the environment was good, the dua and the Quran recitation. Quite a few things, nice things. Good evening.
And I'm just here to see James Caan in action. I've seen him before, so it's just interesting to see him at a different event, really, in a very totally different light with Noor Ul Islam as well.
An inspirational talk with James Caan, I think that was excellent. And again, I think the project that they've shown, which I've seen before as well, and now looking at it, the next development stage, I think it's exciting. And I think one of these projects should be in every town and city.
What do you think of tonight's events?